Yeah,
Well,
we're not dead yet.
Well, Dr. Bill, it is happens to be Saturday afternoon, December 15, 2012, and we're all still here. Somebody left a very clever banner on the internet saying that for those that believe that the world will come to an end at the end of this month, at the end of December, please drop off all your valuables.
Yes.
By me.
At his place.
At his place.
Yeah. It was very nice of him.
Well, the people...
actually, people should not go out then and buy presents and everything because, you know...
Well, that's all based on pagan, a so-called pagan Christmas anyway. I don't follow those traditions.
Why not?
Because it's a trick by capitalist America to get people to spend money you don't have.
Well, if you're a pagan, you can celebrate it.
Yeah, the food and the drink.
Whatever.
I celebrate the food and the
whole
drink.
holiday, the whole festival.
But the whole concept of running out to retail stores and fighting traffic and waiting online,
well, it's good for the economy.
Is all a trick.
But it's good for the economy.
To get you, it's not necessary.
Then the economy goes down the drain.
Hey, I don't own a retail business. It's not my problem.
I own a retail business.
You do?
Yeah. I sell newsletters.
Well, that's a publication.
It doesn't matter. It's still a retail business. Where's the people out there buying newsletters for their people for the holiday?
You know, I mean, the whole concept of being bombarded with the nauseating Christmas songs and all this, and the movies on TV make me sick. You know, it's all to get you to part with your money.
It's good for the economy.
Hey, there's what is good and what is needed, and what is not needed, and what is not needed are Americans that are tapped out as it is to be pressured and feel guilty if they don't go into more debt just to buy expensive pagan Christmas presents for their loved ones.
Well, if they would stop giving and directing more money upwards to the big boys and girls,
siphon up,
we'd have more money down here so that we could grow the economy.
Hey, so when Ronald Reagan used to talk about trickle-down economics, what he should have said was siphon up economics.
Well, he wouldn't have been able to sell that, would he?
No.
Okay, then.
Which is what
Republicans can't sell that which they really want to do. Can you sell in Michigan that I'm coming in here to break up unions? Can you do that? No, you do it stealthily. You say, well, unions, you know, right to work. Right to work, yes, that's better than unions, isn't it?
Is that similar to an Eskimo trying to sell Italian ice and ice cream up in the Arctic? Well, actually, they might end up doing that if the
coals to Newcastle.
If the poles keep on melting as they're doing, they might very well sell ice cream. But anyway, a moment of silence for what happened up in Newcastle, Connecticut.
Newtown.
I'm sorry, Newtown.
Newcastle is in UK.
Yeah, it's a Newcastle Brown Ale. Newtown.
Newcastle, the place where there's a lot of coal. You see, so they would say. That's the irony would be. Well, what are you going to do? Bring coal to Newcastle?
Oh, I didn't know they were
loaded with coal.
I didn't know there were coal in England.
The UK and the United States are coal kingpins.
You mean there are coal mines in the UK?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Too bad there weren't gold and diamond and silver mines.
Once upon a time, big ships moved by coal. Okay?
Including the
steamships, they were called.
The riverboat, the flat-bottom riverboat, Mississippi River steam vessels.
At that time, yeah.
Well, they couldn't function out because the Mississippi's like drying up, I think.
Oh my God.
You know.
It was just flooded a year or 2 or 3 ago.
Yeah.
It flooded everything in sight.
Well, because of the
what happened?
Because of the great drought that's taken place in Middle America, out west.
So why not tank some of that water over there to Texas or something? You know?
Anyway, Texas didn't secede from the Union yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, moment of silence for what happened in Newtown, Connecticut. I don't really... There's not much of anything you could really say except for debating gun control laws back and forth, but as far as the incidents goes, in my opinion, it was pure evil, and that's the only thing I can say about it. But a moment of silence. Okay, and as far as gun control goes, it's going to go back and forth, and of course the after the incident, all the right-wing redneck nuts from the red states were all screaming about the government taking their guns away from them. They didn't waste any time. You know,
no, they didn't.
They put those banners up. They posted stuff on the internet right away.
They didn't waste any time. And here's the thing: nobody asked this question. What are they afraid of?
Well,
now,
when you a dictator does not want his people to be armed. Naturally, a criminal does not want innocent citizens to be armed. Naturally.
Yeah, but
so
that's the point. If they're so afraid of the government, when they and their people are in the government, what are they afraid of? Can we not say, in effect, it's not a fear of government and tyranny per se. It's actually a want to destroy or take over the government. Much like Lucifer wanted to knock God off his throne.
Well, I think the Constitution is right. A free democracy like America, the people have a right to bear arms and form a militia.
The Constitution says...
Form a militia.
That's correct, a militia. That means today the militia is the National Guard.
Big deal.
So you belong to the National Guard.
And you fight for the fat cats, right?
And you bring your gun home with you.
Right.
That's how you really interpret the Constitution.
Yeah, but these people are representing the 1% when you're talking about the military and the National Guard, right? Because the politicians
how can that guy, the guy fighting over in Afghanistan makes $38,000 a year when the 1% make whoopee?
Yeah, big deal.
Come on.
The military doesn't get paid. I'm talking about push come to shove, stopping the corporate plutocracy.
Yeah, but they won't let you now. They're too powerful.
Well, they don't want you to be armed.
Who doesn't?
The system doesn't want the people to be armed.
Wait a minute. Now, what's the system?
The system that kowtows to the fat cats, to the corporations, the elitists.
But that's the Republicans.
Yeah.
So what do you mean they don't want the citizens to be armed?
Well, because
they will love to have the citizens armed because they're their citizens.
Well, these people, these teabaggers, seem to be blaming Barack Obama for all the drone attacks and the thing about Big Brother watching you on the internet and watching every move you make. You know, they're blaming the Democrats. They're blaming Barack Obama for all this.
Well, all of this might be true, but who started it?
The fear of the Obama administration and the...
Oh, what? You know, this is really pathetic. What happened to the intervening administration before Mr. Obama got in there? 8 years of...
Bushy boy.
Thank you. Who started it?
Oh, post 9/11, all these laws?
Yeah.
The so-called reformation?
Yeah.
G.W. Bush.
Thank you. Because there are certain people who actually have forgotten about that administration.
Because these laws sound very fascist.
And how about that, not only these laws,
They don't sound progressive or Democratic Party.
not only these laws,
Yeah.
but what about that huge monster of a growth of government called Homeland Security,
Which was started by Bush.
Correct.
GW.
and which is worthless.
Well, you saw how
It's
people...
nothing but a place for old Republicans to go and retire.
You saw how people were still able to sneak into airports.
And they still are. But oh my God, we need IDs to vote.
That sounds like a Republican rule. To phase out the little guy from voting, right?
Correct.
To phase out the immigrant.
Stealth.
The immigrant from voting.
All of these things have to be done by stealth.
But isn't it funny how the I don't know if they're middle class or if they're poor or they're from the rural America. I don't know who the fuck they are, but these teabaggers seem to be putting the blame for all these fascist laws post 9/11 on Barack Obama.
Correct. They have rewritten history. They love to do that.
And
they've been doing it in Texas in school books that are okayed by Texas about the Great Depression, about FDR, anything. They rewrite it.
And
Go to Wikipedia. Put something up there truthful, and I guarantee you to in 10 seconds, some right-wing jerk being paid by some rich one-percenter has changed it.
yeah, what is with Wikipedia? I mean, why is it so inaccurate?
That's why. Jeez. Let me just give you a statistic.
I've seen flaws and mistakes on Wikipedia galore.
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 In the UK, there may be 35 gun deaths a year. In America, there are 12,000.
In Switzerland is even less. And the people are armed in Switzerland.
Now, here's a thought. If the idiot, weirdo, mental defective, whatever, didn't have a gun,
Demon.
didn't have a gun, he'd have to use a knife. Or a bat.
He probably
Or a stone!
He probably would have took a baseball bat or a knife to his mother. But he wouldn't have gotten away with the mass murder of all these
Correct. That's my point.
innocent little young children.
That's my point.
Yeah.
If indeed we cannot do away with the mental defectives or whatever killing people,
No, can't do away
at
with it.
least keep the number down.
Correct. And the problem is
By not using an AK-47,
The problem-
which can mow down, you know.
the
What's
problem.
the magazine hold, 100?
First of all, a military assault weapon should only be
In the
in the
military.
possession of military personnel.
Because it's designed to kill the enemy.
Right, in large numbers in a
large
short amount of time.
Correct.
But the problem here, Dr. Bill, is that the evil minds and the criminal element will always, unfortunately, be able to get their weapons from the black market,
Correct.
and they're getting it.
Correct. So that's why you put laws in effect that, you know, like gun shows and stuff, they buy the guns and there's no background checks, there's no this, that, and the other thing. Well, you know, you gotta put some laws into effect.
Well, instead of
To
all
try
these
to stop
cops,
that.
preoccupying themselves with arresting Wall Street protesters
And whores, prostitutes.
and prostitutes, why and before legalize medical marijuana, arresting people with some pot in their possession, which is not it's a frivolous, ridiculous law. Why, instead of doing all these dopey things, why don't they go after the big kahunas, the big kingpins?
Well, we just saw, I don't know if we have something on it here in the pile of articles. HSBC
What's that?
just got caught criminal activities, laundering drug money, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to jail from HSBC.
Well, we'll wait till we come to that
But
article.
they're fined. They're fined $1 billion and some dollars. Big deal. Big freaking deal.
Slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist, the cost of doing business.
Oh,
They made billions.
You hear that? Speaking of the cost of doing business, Dr. Bill, all you people out there that believe all these corporate American CEOs when they cry about their overhead in the United States and they're forced to outsource your American jobs to like mainland China and Bangladesh and Indonesia because the American worker expects and demands too much. All of the overhead, including health care for employees, fringe benefits, health care for employees are all
wages,
tax
deductible.
All tax deductible. So
the big boy, the man loses nothing.
So they're crocodile tears, which is what it is. They're lying to you. They're outsourcing American jobs because they're greedy, and they want to pay some poor soul 18 cents an hour in Bangladesh or 32 cents an hour at Foxconn in mainland China. They're just greedy, wicked, miserable people. Not because the overhead is choking them. My conservative Uncle Phil keeps on saying the unions are to blame. They're strangling the and forcing corporations to outsource. That's complete hogwash.
Garbage.
And these new recently in the news, these new right to work laws simply are
the right to work for less.
The right for American companies to screw you as an American employee, as a worker.
As Hostess just did. Okay?
Okay.
Because Hostess, going to get rid of all those people, 18,000 now, etc. And just about a year ago or so, before this new CEO took over, they defunded the pension plan. And they gave themselves big bonuses. The big boys. You see how it's done? That's how it's done. Now, speaking about the wages are choking us, etc. So that means that then after World War II, up until the 80s or whatever, no company ever made a profit because they had to supply fringe benefits and they had to supply wages to the unions and etc. There were no companies making any profits during those years, were there? I got news for you. They were doing damn well.
If the little guy that donates his blood, sweat, and tears to make profit and a fortune for these American companies, if the little guy with his union are the ones that are strangling and choking the companies and forcing them to outsource, how come they don't complain about the salaries of the CEO and all the upper executives that are that are choking the company? They don't complain about the CEO's salary.
Well, because that's siphoning the money upward, baby. Ain't that what the country's all about? Huh?
Yeah, there's no trickle-down economics.
Why would we need trickle-down economics?
Doesn't exist.
Why would we need the mutant form of capitalism which we have? When we have, and it's pathetic because the people who perpetrate these myths and etc. call themselves Christians.
Oh, that's another
they
talk
call
show.
themselves Christians.
Because they're phonies. They're not Christians.
But they have no inkling of God's economics, which is presented in the Bible.
Oh, no, they don't. Because
all for them is, we only have choices like communism, socialism, fascism, or capitalism. That's it. We have no other choices. None whatsoever.
And if they truly were Christians, they would promote God's economics instead of the devil's economics, which is the conservative form of capitalism. Me, the get way of life instead of the give way of life. selfishness, greed, a profit before people and profit before the planet. They would not be for that, which is the devil's economics. They would be for God's economics. So therefore, ipso facto ergo, they are not Christians.
Correct.
And as simple as that. And that kind of ties into the new article, the new issue of Censored, you were telling me, which is going to be titled...
There are no Christians on Wall Street.
Oh, that's the title?
That's the title, yes.
The title. There are no Christians on Wall Street.
Correct.
So anyway, that's the story. Right to work is the right for companies to screw you. Simple as that. They don't want unions because, hey, if it wasn't for unions, could you imagine the conditions American workers would be under today?
But the big boys would love that, and the big girls.
It'll be just short of slavery.
Well, it is slavery. Slavery's got a house.
Yeah.
And food, did they not?
So it's
Those
worse.
are wages. So, if you got... Look, Richard Wolff was on his program today, was quoting a study that they did of the actual minimum wage today, which is $7.25, cannot buy you what the minimum wage of 30 years ago did. So what has happened in that time? Your wages have gone down.
And the cost of living, of course, has gone up.
And the cost of living has gone up.
So the gap.
But it looks, it looks. Well, you're getting $7.25 an hour. Back then, the minimum wage was, I don't know, $2
Yeah,
or
but
whatever,
you could buy a new car for
That's correct.
$2,500, right?
Speaking, I know someone
Mm-hmm.
who back in 1972 was bringing home $320 a month.
Okay.
And bought a mobile home.
Yes.
And bought himself a brand new Vega
Chevrolet.
for $2,400.
Brand new.
Brandy new. Where today is there a car on the market equivalent
No.
to that?
It seems like there's a direct correlation between the gap between the average salary and the true cost of living, and also the gap between the poor and the high income, the rich, is getting wider too.
Yes, it is.
As the middle class is disappearing and becoming poor, the gap is growing wider and wider, just like the gap between the cost of living and the average American wage.
Because another factor in there is the fact,
thank God for unions, though,
that they have been cheating, mind you, on the true inflation rate all these years.
And lying about the true unemployment rate, which is probably over 20% in reality, right?
Right now it's probably 23%. Who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, let me formally pipe aboard my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman, aboard our progressive liberal pirate ship.
Is Johnny Depp aboard?
Yeah, why not? If he's
Pirates of the Caribbean?
If he's a progressive, Johnny Depp is cool. He's welcome. He's more than welcome. Arr! Ahoy, matey, and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering who these guys are before before we sink our teeth into these readings, these are the end times, the end of days brothers, and this is the demon, our demon, that represents the evil demonic forces in the end times. Okay, and this is what the poor and homeless have in store for them in the end times, as long as you keep on voting for conservative Republicans in the House and Senate. Okay, this is what you have in store for you. Do you hear the rattling of the bones? All right.
That sounds like a singing group, the End Time Brothers.
The End Time Brothers. Well, it's like the Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers.
You know, but, and also, he has a friend. They have a friend who just joined us. He would like to say something to you.
He's speaking with his eyes. Ah, the battery died.
No, he had enough.
Oh.
That's
Speaking about,
you know,
Republicans.
and from the elitist 1%, they have a message for the poor. We are here to kill you. We are here to kill you. We are here to kill you. We are here to kill you.
Boy, that's kind of upfront, not stealthy at all.
That sounds like we are here to kill you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Message to the poor. Okay, let us...
Speaking of Republicans.
All right, well, make sure we sink our teeth into these readings soon. All right, go ahead, say what you got to say.
I heard a Republican the other day touting the fact that he said that it was the Democrats who were for slavery and etc. Yeah, down in the South, and he didn't understand. Well, they also say that the Ku Klux Klan was just a nice movement. That was
a nice movement.
Yeah, but anyway, it was the Democrats. They were called Dixiecrats. But he didn't understand history. What happened was he thought and maintained that Republicans were the same as those who were Republican at the time of Abraham Lincoln.
No, they're very different.
They were. That's what happened.
Abraham Lincoln.
When Lyndon Johnson, when the civil rights laws went into effect, what happened was there was a shift, a total shift, and what we called Democrats in those days changed. The Republicans then became like the Dixiecrats.
They had a price.
No, they didn't want to give the blacks civil rights, etc. So it actually changed. The character of the two parties changed.
Is that why all the red states are still kind of racist today?
Yeah, because they don't like the. Well, at the time, Lyndon Johnson said when he pushed the civil rights bill laws, we're going to lose the South for generations. Yeah. And he was correct.
You remember George Wallace's attitude?
George Wallace was a Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At that time.
Traditional
but then,
Southern.
Yeah, but at that time, afterwards, when the civil rights laws were put into effect, those that were Democrats and against civil rights actually became Republicans. And so, in other words, this jerk that was yakking, he did not understand that change. He did not understand history. The Republican Party of today is totally different than the Republican Party of Abraham Lincoln's day.
And Teddy Roosevelt.
And of Eisenhower's day.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, these were very different Republicans.
Correct.
From what we have now. Okay, let us sink our teeth into these readings because they're building up.
British scientists have started drilling in Antarctica in their quest to discover whether life exists in a lake that has been isolated for hundreds of thousands of years 2 miles below the ice. The researchers will use a drill that pumps hot water at high pressure to bore through the ice. After firing the boiler's burners on Tuesday, they began test drills on Wednesday before they begin drilling down to the lake by Sunday. Since that boiler fired up, the mood's been pretty good. The 13 million plan is the culmination of 16 years of planning. Researchers aim to recover water and sediment samples from the lake to determine whether life exists there and shed clues on the past climate of Antarctica. The most likely organisms to be found will be bacterial. If there's nothing there, that will tell us that the limits for existence of life on Earth. After testing the drill works, the researchers plan to bore down about 900 feet, where they will create a water-filled cavity to help balance the water pressure between the lake and the borehole. Then, they plan to make a separate hole from the top, through the cavity and down to the lake. Once the drill is removed, the clock starts ticking, and the researchers have just 24 to 30 hours to recover samples before the hole refreezes and becomes too narrow to safely lower instruments.
And that hole will refreeze very quickly in Antarctica.
First, they'll lower a sterile ultraviolet lamp down to irradiate any life around the edges of the hole.
Sterile.
Then,
yeah,
they will send down a probe with 24 canisters to collect water samples from different depths. Finally, a sediment corer will be dropped down to recover a length of sediment from the lake bed. By analyzing the column of sediment, scientists can tell whether the ice sheet has retreated in the past because of the presence or not of fossilized marine organisms in the silt.
Yeah, well, Antarctica, for you people out there that are not well educated, is a continent. There's a landmass underneath all that ice and snow, you know, and as opposed to the North Pole, which is the Arctic Sea. It's all ocean. It's all frozen water. But I assume Antarctica's melting also.
I think it has its problems, yeah.
Yeah. The penguins are going to have to... well, animals are amazing at how they adapt. Really.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
How about our parakeets over here?
Somewhat.
How about New Zealand penguins?
Well, there's a
Do they prefer cold water?
Well, there's a tropical penguin in the Galapagos Islands off of Ecuador.
There you go.
They're indigenous to that area.
Again, you see, that goes back to the generalizing thing. You can't generalize about that things. The individuals or the groups or whatever, they have different ways and means and habits and all that stuff.
Well, even pets can have different personalities.
Yes, it usually depends on environment, how you adapt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well...
And the Galapagos is a good example, or Easter Island. They're good examples of adaptation. Yeah. Remember, when Darwin went to, was it Darwin? Did he go to the Galapagos?
Yeah.
And he saw those animals, you know?
Yeah, but...
So what the hell is a platypus?
The problem... No.
The
platypus is from down in, was it New Zealand? Or Tasmania? No, New Zealand.
Well, what was one of those?
No, the platypus is down under.
All right, so one of the big animals there in
the Galapagos
tortoises.
The iguanas, the marine iguana and the land iguana.
The ones that are specifically of there and not somewhere else. You can't.
Yeah, they're indigenous.
Anyway, when he saw those animals, you know.
And there are subspecies like the tortoises from certain Galapagos Islands are very different from tortoises from other Galapagos Islands.
Yeah, there you go.
And the problem is not Charles Darwin and the men of science. The problem are the greedy scumbags that follow them, that exploit these animals for profit.
No. Do we do that in this,
Well,
world?
what do you think made the dodo bird extinct?
How about the unicorn? You know how many times the
that's
unicorn...
a mythical beast.
Well, you know how many times the unicorn is mentioned in the Bible? Many times. It's also on one of the Israelites' standard. The unicorn.
There are it's sad but true, but there are many species that man has
Correct.
caused to become extinct because of greed. Out of greed, it's just
Well,
really
of course
sad.
not man, too. I mean, there are other reasons sometimes for a species to go extinct.
Well, over-harvesting.
How about the dinosaurs?
Well, and I'm talking about over-harvesting of an animal for food or their skins. Or
Well, I don't know.
feathers.
In the Bible, of course, they were always sacrificing, lambs and etc. We got a lot of
Well,
lambs
if you keep
today.
on, what happens to a certain species of fish used for food when commercial boats outfish regions and you
Cod.
have a shortage, huh?
Cod. Cod has been overfished.
Well, the same thing can happen with an animal that's harvested for food or for commercial reasons. It's
Correct.
over-harvested. You keep on over-harvesting, the creature becomes endangered. It goes from threatened species, right, to endangered species, and from endangered to extinct. And it's
All through greed.
It's all through greed. All right, next.
A fertility doctor who sexually abused 9 patients during medical examinations will spend the next 7 years in a state treatment facility.
I guess his reason for studying gynecology was for other reasons besides
How dare you?
medical.
How dare you impugn the reputation of doctors?
That's like somebody becoming a podiatrist only because they have a foot fetish.
Or how about somebody becoming a proctologist because they have an ass fetish? Or maybe they're an asshole. Or the ass man, like on Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, the proctologist's license plate. Oh, did you see that? I posted it on my
Yes,
Facebook.
I did.
Kramer?
I saw that.
Everybody was whistling and as he drives around with the Assman.
Alfredo Garcia, 68 years old, of Englewood, New Jersey, formerly the medical director of the Tower Fertility Center, pleaded guilty to 8 counts of criminal sexual contact, and 1 count of sexual assault under a plea agreement with the state.
So he's like the dentist from many years ago that used to chloroform his female patients to sleep.
Or the laughing gas. Nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide?
Yeah, putting them to sleep, and then when they wake up, they have a. They think they had a dream. Like, the doctor molested me in a dream.
In a dream?
When it actually happened.
These are the levity jingle bells. The levity balls.
Garcia committed the abuse
Jingle my, jingle my, jingle
during
my balls.
examinations
Jingle
that were
those balls.
supervised by nurses by disguising his actions as part of medical procedures. After he was arrested, Garcia told the psychologist that what excited him was the fact that he was getting away with it.
So he knocked out his female patients.
Well, we don't know if he knocked them out. He was using what he was doing as part of a procedure, medical procedure. He was disguising. He was being stealthy.
Yeah, but how could you be stealthy about sexual intercourse?
Well, sticking your finger in her vagina and saying, "Well, I must touch the walls of your vagina, my sweet.
And I must examine
This
your...
is a medical procedure.
And
Please do not
and I
think that I am trying to masturbate you."
and Fräulein, I must examine your clitoris. Your
Clitoris, yes.
Your clitoris. What is it?
Let me
Clitoris?
test this.
Is
Clitoris.
it clitoris or clitoris?
Clitoris,
Yeah, but but how is that gratifying compared to intercourse? I mean,
Or maybe he will go home later in the day and, do a little Mary Palmer.
wax his bishop.
Wax the bishop if you're a chess player.
Wax the bishop. It does look like a bishop when you think about it.
Maybe he can only move diagonally.
What? Diagonally? You mean this way? Instead of vertically?
Yeah.
Sideways?
Yeah. Garcia was sentenced.
Excuse me. Levity.
Garcia was sentenced to state prison.
Yay.
But because a psychological evaluation categorized him as a repetitive and compulsive sex offender,
Yay. Repetitive.
the
Gadzooks.
state agreed that he should serve his time at the Adult Diagnostic and Treatment Center in Avenel, New Jersey. What we have here is someone
Oh, shit.
who engaged in a pattern of misconduct. He deserves every day of the negotiated sentence.
Oh, boy.
Garcia, who had offices in Clifton and Hackensack,
Oh, not far from here.
was arrested in September 2009 on charges that he sexually abused 2 patients at his office in Clifton.
Did they revoke his license?
They didn't say nothing about that yet. An initial investigation led to the discovery of 1 additional victim. But after media reports of Garcia's arrest, 6 more women came forward with similar allegations.
Wow.
Garcia was arraigned in Bergen and Passaic counties, but prosecutors consolidated the charges for a single case in Bergen County. On Friday, Garcia's attorney asked Judge Edward A. Jerajan
Oh, Jean.
to impose a reduced 3-year sentence,
Jerishlong.
saying his client treated more than 14,000 female patients during his career and helped families conceive an estimated 3,500 children.
Yay.
The good that this man accomplished
Gadzooks. Yeah.
far outweighs any of the bad things that happened.
So that means he should continue to practice medicine?
Probably. No, he was asking for only 3 years sentence.
Oh, he was trying to cut it down.
Cut it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
He added that Garcia knows what he did was wrong and unacceptable.
So he was a cunny linguist, being that he's a very good speaker.
I don't know how you would make that into a medical procedure.
Being
I don't think he did it that way.
a cunny
I
linguist.
think we're talking about digital and things of that
a
nature.
master debater, Prince of Poon,
Something of that nature.
and an amateur. Obviously, well, he wasn't an amateur gynecologist. He was
Yes, quite established.
quite established. Yeah.
His life has been shattered.
Oh.
He will never again practice medicine. So I guess they did take his license away.
Never again?
And he lost his wife.
Oh, she left him?
Oh, who died during the criminal investigation.
She died? Oh, he lost her that way.
Yeah.
You mean died of
These are all things
stress induced?
so that we will feel sorry for the perpetrator. This is what lawyers do for their bad clients. Okay? But victim impact statements read aloud and a statement by one victim during the sentencing hearing.
You mean like when O.J. Simpson had the arthritis and the glove didn't fit? So
Demonstrate
you must have quit? Yeah.
the reach of Garcia's crimes. He noted that Garcia had exhibited similar behavior before, though he was never charged. The doctor's medical license was suspended for 150 days in 2004
We almost done?
after allegations by 2 patients of medically inappropriate examinations.
Inappropriate.
That is correct.
Oh.
That is correct, sir.
You know.
I hold in my hand the last envelope.
You mean before break?
No.
Oh.
I'm doing
Oh, Karnak.
Karnak the Magnificent.
Ooh, Karnak. We have any heavy-duty political readings there, sir?
Well, this is
something applicable to what's screwing the people over nowadays?
Yes, what I mentioned before.
Applicable?
British bank HSBC has agreed to pay $1.9 billion to settle a probe in connection with the laundering of money from narcotics traffickers in Mexico. U.S. authorities announced. The move prevents illegal that could further savage the bank's reputation and undermine confidence in the global banking system. Oh my! Oh my! This bank is too big to fail. It's too big to put its people in jail.
Yeah, but it's okay to put the little guy in jail.
Of course, the more the merrier.
And lay the little...
And make money on him.
And
with
lay the...
privatization of prison systems.
So you have slave labor?
Correct.
In privatized prisons?
Correct.
Interesting. People, wake up and smell your coffee there, your espresso. You know, I mean, Americans are such idiots. You know, they fall for all this crap, all this conservative propaganda.
At least $881 million in drug trafficking proceeds was laundered through HSBC Bank USA, violating the Bank Secrecy Act. The government also alleges that HSBC intentionally allowed prohibited transactions with Iran, Libya, Sudan, and Burma. Wasn't Burma renamed as Myanmar?
Malamar? Isn't that candy?
Yeah, it has marshmallow in it.
Oh, I hate marshmallows. Yeah, why did they rename these countries? What was wrong with the word Burma?
Maybe it was maybe I'm not sure. Can't say.
You could. It's easy to.
Maybe the name Burma was given by. Didn't the UK own it before?
Yeah, but it's so easy to remember Burma and spell. You know what I mean? Like Ceylon is now Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I heard Sri Lanka is well, a lot of very fine tea is growing on Sri Lanka. Actually, they got hit with the tsunami that time, right?
All right, I got more of this
after go ahead.
The break, so I got to finish this part at least.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's too long to finish straight through. Okay.
HSBC is being held accountable for stunning failures of oversight, and worse, that led the bank to permit narcotics traffickers and others to launder hundreds of millions of dollars through HSBC subsidiaries, and to facilitate hundreds of millions more in transactions with sanctioned countries. The record of dysfunction that prevailed at HSBC for many years was astonishing. Today, HSBC is paying a heavy price for its conduct. Yeah, right. And under the terms of today's agreement, if the bank fails to comply with the agreement in any way, we reserve the right to fully prosecute it. Ooh.
Okay.
We'll do the rest later.
Okay. You want me to mark off where you left off? So
I got it. I got it.
I mean exactly where you left off.
Of course. What do you think?
And you will remember.
I got a mind, you know.
Well, sometimes
I'm not a Republican.
So sometimes you'll look and you go, "Oh, gee, where did I leave off?"
No, I don't.
But you're not going to do it.
No,
this time.
I don't. I know exactly where I left off.
Okay. We are going to take a break because it happens to be the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by his taking of his supplementation, nutritional supplementation. Okay.
Yeah.
Malamar. Myanmar?
Myanmar.
Myanmar. Well, Dr. Bill, I have made a decision as of last night that I will not purchase, I will never purchase ever again an American-made electronics device. I despise, I loathe General Electric's products. I'm not too crazy about Radio Shack, but GE is crap. Every time I buy something, GE or Radio Shack, mostly GE, it has a very short lifespan. And in this case, it was something for the computer, an accessory, and it had a short lifespan, and I threw it in the garbage so damn hard that the wastebasket
Got a hole in it.
no, it kind of like shook, it vibrated. Never again will I buy GE anything.
What happened? America used to be the leader in technology.
No, it seems like everything is, they just want to cut corners to increase their profits. Get cheaper labor for increasing their profits. Which is, you know, cutting corners is kind of like having contempt for your consumers in the long run or the short run.
So what does that mean? That means that the American companies doing that kind of business are making more money than foreigners?
Well, foreign companies don't seem to have a problem putting out quality electronic products. South Korea, you know, companies like Samsung, Japanese electronics companies. I mean, who knows? Maybe China has some companies in there competing. I'm not aware of it, but I know South Korea and Japan doesn't have problems with quality and selling their products and having their products last a long time and standing behind them.
Well, they sure didn't make their nuclear power plants last a long time.
Well, I mean, nuclear power plants are not exactly earthquake-proof.
And
Come on.
they did what, you know, Americans would be doing. They neglected upkeep and, you know, the things that you're supposed to do to keep the plant safe.
Yeah, well, that's notorious. That's a notorious trait of American companies. The cost of keeping your employees safe. You know, anytime they have to spend money, increase their overhead, whether it be the proper disposal of toxic waste, it's, you know, they rather just dump it than spend money to get rid of it properly. Whether it be fire safety precautions, spending money on that, like what happened in the garment factory in Bangladesh when all those people died in the fire because Walmart did not want to spend money on fire safety. You know, profits before.
Why care about people?
Profits before people. That's how it is. Now,
American capitalism, baby.
my friend Robert.
Hey, those Christians, so-called, they tout that, don't they?
Oh, do you mean the counterfeit Christians?
Yeah, they tout that, don't they? American capitalism. Yeah.
Well, if they read the Bible, they would see that God's not too crazy about capitalism. You know.
God's not too crazy about human beings.
So you know, if God is disappointed at human beings, he's not fond of politics at all, which is, like you say, pathological.
Right. Wilhelm Reich said that. I happen to agree.
The great Wilhelm Reich. Perfect example. Nikola Tesla versus Thomas Edison. The people who backed Thomas Edison wanted to make profit off of electricity.
They should have doing
the
that.
fat cats, your J.P. Morgans and everything. But Tesla said we could supply electricity for everyone for free, because electricity is natural. It is of nature. It's all around us. And he had a way to do it, but they didn't want to go with Tesla.
Can't make any money there.
So Tesla died poor in a New York City hotel room, alone. But
A lot of great men
But they sure confiscated.
go that way.
But the government sure confiscated all of Tesla's works.
And built a death ray, according to
Yeah.
the researches of Jesse Ventura.
Somebody blasted Jesse on Facebook. Jesse was saying America is so upset, and actually rightfully so, about the needless killings of the young children in Connecticut. But meanwhile, Pakistani children are being killed constantly by U.S. drone attacks, and people don't think anything of that. So one guy yelled and says, "What's wrong with you? Do you hate America that much?"
There we go.
Sounds like one of those red state redneck teabaggers.
Oh yeah, because Republicans cannot be corrected. You cannot correct them.
So there
You are a non-patriot. You hate America, etc., etc.
If you disagree
when you're
with
trying to make a correction.
Yeah, but meanwhile, they don't have any. Instead of having facts to debate you, they call you unpatriotic, un-American, a traitor. But they never have anything to debate you with.
It's not required.
There's no comeback. There's no facts.
Not required.
So
I told you.
it's not required because they own the blowhorn.
And Republicans, a lot of them come out of Harvard, with the ability to debate an issue from both sides. Well, if you can debate an issue from both sides, there's no truth in you. You have no core compass, you see. Because there's not two truths. There's only one truth.
That's right. That's right. So this person, I posted something challenging this gentleman, and I use that term loosely. You know, people. It looks like that reality is a very bitter pill for many people to swallow. And as soon as you bring up the real, proven, hard-hitting truth and the facts,
Well, that's because
they can't handle it.
in politics, perception is reality. What they make people perceive, that is considered reality, not reality itself. So that's what they go about doing.
I don't hold any validity to this perception nonsense. I could sit here and tell you.
I just told you about the guy before who perceived that Republicans were the good guys because they were like Abraham Lincoln's Republicans.
Well, there's plenty of them. There's plenty of.
That's perception.
There's plenty of teabagger fools like that.
Yes, that's not reality, though.
That's like me sitting here and saying, if I was a teabagger, God forbid, and I'm sitting here and I'm saying to you, "Hey, Bill, hey, Reverend Bill, Dr. Bill, this skeleton that's rattling doesn't exist. He is not hanging here. I refuse to believe that he is here rattling. And the reality is he is here hanging and rattling." You know what I'm saying? It's like either it is or it isn't. Either it exists and it's proven, or it's not. You know?
Then you must cloak it. You must cloak it with something else.
The same thing with a quantum physicist. Like, what's the famous Japanese man? Michio Suzuki?
Kaku.
Aku?
Michio Kaku.
Michio Kaku. It's like him making statements that are scientifically proven, and then these other jabroni idiots, these teabaggers, come forth and say, you know, you're wrong. It's what he's saying is demonic, and the Bible doesn't say what the quantum physicists are saying, and blah 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 blah. And they insist that the world is only 6,000 or 7,000 year old. Period.
Yep.
6,000 or 7,000 years old, so on and so forth. Carbon dating is a lie.
Hmm. And they don't understand that their Bible calls them liars. Well, I shouldn't say their Bible, because it's not their Bible.
No, it's not theirs. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Well, maybe their rewritten Bible is their Bible.
Mhm. Yeah, but they don't even have to rewrite it. They don't understand it. And for many of them, that's given by God Himself. It's not there to be understood.
So anyway, I gave this guy some flack, a piece of my mind, and then some. This red state redneck right-wing teabagger idiot that was yelling at Jesse Ventura on the conspiracy theory page, and you know, it's people are so prone to believe an ideology and propaganda that they hear constantly, since the U.S. media is quick to tell you what Republicans have to say and not so quick to tell you what independents or Democrats or progressives have to say. They're not. That's why all the progressives, all the mainstream progressives, have to resort to broadcasting on internet talk radio, on video or on the radio, on the internet, not in mainstream media, because mainstream media is controlled by the corporations. So that's why we had so many independent candidates on the ballot, but nobody knew any of them. That is the deal.
And they like it that way.
If they knew who Rocky Anderson or Jill Stein was right from the get-go, right from the beginning, among others, the gentleman, what's his name, Governor Walker? Who's the Thompson? No. Who's the New Mexico? Libertarian in New Mexico that has a lot of great ideas. What was his name? Johnson. Governor Gary Johnson?
Yeah.
Right. It might have been a completely different outcome of the election. You know, people have a right to know the independents. They have a right to know anybody who has a large popular backing. You know, and it should not be about who has the most money. It should be who has the most popularity to get their name on the ballot. And
how are you going to get? We have that now. How do you get the popularity?
Well, the mainstream media turns its back on the people who spout the truth.
So how do you get the popularity? How do you get those people before the media?
Good question. The people and the independent candidate keep on demanding that they get FaceTime?
There's a certain thing that Congress does. It's called making laws and regulations. I know, it's something we haven't heard of since the 1980s.
Elections and campaigns need to be reformed. Very much so. Everything needs to be reformed. Our healthcare system, elections, campaign, you know, the whole system needs to be reformed.
It's the system, stupid.
Just like the old censored issue called "It's the economy, stupid." It's the system, stupid.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I post a lot of great stuff on the conspiracy theory page, and so does the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory page. Posts a lot of very valuable information. There's another great page called Being Liberal. That's the one with the photo of FDR as their photo.
Seen the new movie?
What
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's playing who?
Playing FDR.
It just came out? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How come I didn't hear about it?
I don't know. Seems to be on commercials on TV all the time, and I don't watch that much TV.
It's about time they did a movie called FDR.
I don't know. That's called Hyde Park, I think.
because he's from Hyde Park, New York,
Yeah.
where he was from.
Mhm.
And Harry Truman was from Missouri, right?
Missouri. Is that the Show Me state?
That's not a perverted word, is it? Show me. That has
Show
nothing
me,
to
no.
do with flashes or anything.
Good.
Show
It
me.
could. Now you see, speaking about that,
Oh,
it goes back
levity,
to
levity. That was a joke.
goes back to the doctor we were just reading about.
Just discombobulated it. Yeah. Oh, you mean Mr.
If that particular doctor would have had a little more exposure to show me stuff whilst he was growing up, I do not think he would be doing what he did.
You mean he was sexually, he might have been sexually
Suppressed?
suppressed,
Yes.
oppressed growing up?
Yes.
Maybe he grew up in a very strict puritanical Americana family or a strict
Whatever.
strict Catholic family?
Whatever. We can't generalize about it because we don't know the the wherewithal.
Like
but
the same mindset that went after Hugh Hefner and Larry Flint?
well,
Okay, let's pick up where we
those
left
people
off.
who go after people like Larry Flint and Hugh Hefner, they believe they're doing God's work.
Oh, because
They believe that God is so freaking weak that they have to do His work for Him down here on the earth.
when they feel they want it done
Well, according to them.
in a timely fashion, according to them.
According to them, yes. That's what they want.
Not in God's own time, in their time.
Well, they don't understand that God has a plan. They don't work with that. They just want to work controlling us. You see.
Well,
Us bad boys.
People-
and girls.
people like Larry Flint and Hugh Hefner and Wilhelm Reich, right? They believed that sexual suppression, sexual oppression
Causes problems.
causes a lot of problems, psychologically and societal.
Well, and speaking about that, we go back to what you were talking about, the shooter yesterday. Wilhelm Reich showed that a lot of this stuff is social, and we should have ways of dealing with it socially. It doesn't happen because your Republican friends don't want to spend the moolah. They'd rather spend it. They're so much into God for this, that, and the other thing. But oh my God, we have to put so much money into the military for our protection. Why don't they ask God for protection from their enemies? Instead of building this gargantuan military complex, which in 80% of the time just rewards private contractors. It doesn't do anything for the guy on the battlefield. Huh? I guess God is so weak there too that they gotta cut him out of that too. Okay? Back to HSBC.
Yeah.
Unless you have something to add here.
No. The title of this article, the gist of it, give the listeners and the viewers the gist so they know what we're getting back to.
Well, we were reading about HSBC being fined for drug trafficking in money with banned countries like Iran, Sudan, etc. They were being bad boys and girls.
This is a British.
Nobody's going to jail.
It's a British bank, right?
British bank,
Okay.
yes.
All right, continue.
We accept responsibility for our past mistakes. HSBC Chief Executive Stuart Gulliver said. Well, good God. Isn't that magnanimous of him?
He kind of sounds a little like British Petroleum CEO.
Can I get my life back? I just want to get my life back.
After you
What does life consist of? Going to golfing?
after you just poised, his
you
life.
killed 11 people.
His life at the country club is worth more than poisoning and killing off the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, right.
And 11 people, too. Don't forget those.
And 11
Died.
people died
Correct.
for the profits of British Petroleum.
We have said we are profoundly sorry for them.
Sounds just like BP.
And we do so again.
We are profoundly sorry.
It's the latest scandal to hit banks since the financial crisis started in 2008.
Because they got caught, they're profoundly sorry?
Exactly.
Were they profoundly sorry before they got caught?
No.
So they would have continued their shenanigans.
Obviously.
Oh, boy.
Standard Chartered PLC, another British bank, signed an agreement with New York regulators on Monday to settle a money laundering investigation involving Iran with a $340 million payment. These banks are operating in an environment where you can't afford to have uncertainty attached to their name. And they are dependent on confidence from their investors. Why didn't they think of that before they did the dirty deeds? Oh, stop dirtying our reputation now. Just because we did some bad things. Stop now. Despite the high price of the settlement, markets seemed relieved. HSB Holdings PLC share price in London was trading at 0.5% higher at 6.45 pence. Now there's another of the problems. We, the people, we keep their share prices up. Their stock prices. Stop buying them and let them go down the drain.
Boycott.
Standard Chartered was flat at 1,498 pence. Whatever that is in the American dollar.
Puh.
I don't know. Analysts said the two British-based banks will be able to absorb the cost of the settlements. No kidding. Just the cost of doing business. According to Shore Capital analyst Gary Greenwood, the penalties are equivalent to around 9% of each company's 2012 pre-tax profits. The certainty is clearly welcome and helps to draw a line under the situation. In terms of knock-on effects, we think it is likely to lead to higher ongoing compliance costs and perhaps some minor loss of business in the United States, but nothing that will be particularly material to either company. Business as usual. Banks are facing greater scrutiny since the financial crisis. Whoop-de-doo. Should have had that scrutiny before the financial crisis, and you wouldn't have had a financial crisis. A string of banking scandals has highlighted lax oversight and a culture of arrogance and entitlement.
Ooh.
They're entitled to be too big to fail. But God forbid that person over there, that puny individual person, he wants more food stamps. How dare him?
Yeah, food stamps drop. It's not even a slap. It's not even a drop in a bucket. It's like dew on a morning dew on a plant leaf. I mean, they expect you to live on the crap that they give you. Even welfare is microscopic.
Well, they sure don't want you to get rich. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, you
and
might
get out of poverty.
You might. Well, a lot of right wingers make it like the poor that are collecting welfare and food stamps are living high on the hog. They act like you're living high on the hog because you're like when Christie got elected. Chris Christie says, "Oh, it's going to stop. The people that are used to getting something for nothing is going to stop." Ooh, something for nothing. Ooh, so much money you give the poor on welfare and in food stamps.
Mayor of Newark, Cory Booker, just lived for 1 week on food stamps.
Cory
Guess
Booker.
what?
I'm saluting Cory, Mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Cory Booker. And I hope he runs for governor of New Jersey as a Democrat. With my lucky Blackthorn Irish shillelagh. Cory Booker, Great job. Very intelligent man. Yeah, what happened to him when he tried to live on food
He
stamps?
couldn't live on it.
Well, food stamps couldn't support Chris Christie's grocery bill
For one day.
for 1 hour. He's getting fatter and fatter.
Oh, he thinks that has nothing to do with him running for president, though.
Yeah, but it has to do with his
You
health.
saw how he was running around here with Storm Sandy.
Yeah, he
Didn't
was-
stop him. All he did was put on his little fleece there, and he was all gung-ho.
yeah, and he doesn't need a lot of sleep either. He's like an Energizer bunny.
Woo.
Yeah, but that you know obesity.
Maybe that's because he's got a lot of sugar in his diet. You know?
Well, that's why he's obese.
Simple sugars.
He's addicted to sugar. You know, I mean, it's only a matter of time when obesity catches up to the person that's obese.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it's going to catch up with him. So he's, you know, by nonchalantly ignoring it, the fact is not going to make it better for him.
Money laundering by banks has become a priority target for United States law enforcement. Since 2009, Credit Suisse, Barclays, Lloyds, and ING have all paid big settlements related to allegations that they moved money for people or companies that were on the United States sanctions list.
Ah.
HSBC conceded that its anti-money laundering measures were inadequate and that it has taken big steps in beefing up its control. Yeah, I believe that. Among other measures, it has hired a former Treasury Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence as its chief legal officer.
Mm-hmm.
The bank also said it has reached agreements over investigations by other United States government agencies and expects to sign an agreement with British regulators shortly.
Okay.
Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now last week, remember, we were doing some reading about the Edgewater parakeets who are in trouble right now.
We're doing a lot of light subjects today.
These are not light subjects. You are not grasping the importance of simple, small things.
Yeah.
What do you think it is when an electric utility is going in there and chopping down the trees that these nests are in of these parakeets? You, who's talking about the world, extinct species, this, that, and the other thing.
Well, they're invasive.
We're talking about power here. The utility's power
Right.
over whoever's protecting the parakeets or whatever.
Well, they're invasive. They're not indigenous to this area. They escaped from their owners.
But they are here.
But it's not their fault.
That's correct.
It's not their
They
fault.
are here.
And they amazingly survived the winters up here.
They are here.
See how speaking of how well animals adapt, this is a
The Edgewater Parrot Society on Wednesday rushed to set up temporary nesting areas for a colony of monk parakeets to build new homes after learning that the dead trees where the birds live might be chopped down today.
Ooh.
Now, if they can do this, why didn't the utility? Why wouldn't they build other nests, other places for the birds that they were going to chop down
Because
their trees? Their homes.
it's a damn corporation, and they don't like spending money.
Ah, so this is important. It does have ramifications bigger than parakeets.
They don't like spending money on their employees. What makes you think they're going to like spending money on these on homeless parakeets?
Bingo.
Or monk parrots, whatever you want to call them.
The founder, Allison Evans Fragal, and a handful of other volunteers wrapped metal wires around 4 trees on a grassy median at River Road and Route 5.
Are these from the Audubon Society?
No, the Parakeet Society.
Parakeet.
They have their own society.
You gotta be kidding me. How many friggin' groups have to exist nowadays? A parakeet society?
Well, if the utilities won't do their job,
But
somebody has to protect
but
them.
they're birds. Whatever happened to the Audubon Society? What the hell are they doing? I left a message for them one time of great concern about something in particular, and they never called me back. What did they do? What did they do, the Audubon Society?
I don't know.
It had to do with,
I once wanted to contact them. I don't believe I did. About the ducks.
Right.
Here. Since the mobile home park was under attack, I thought maybe they could designate this some sort of sanctuary or something, protecting the ducks and also us.
Well, it is a sanctuary now. Mallard, wild mallard. For those of you familiar with the wild mallard duck, the males are gorgeous. They have this bright, like iridescent jade green head. Well, right next to the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey, which I forgot to announce. I'm sorry. I am your host. This is Progressive Discussions, and I am your host, James P. Madonna, and I'm with my co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. I usually do this at the beginning of the show. I'm sorry. We got caught up in so much. But there's a creek or a brook. What's the difference? Is there a difference between a creek or a brook? A babbling brook?
I don't know. I would think a creek is smaller. I don't know.
All right, a babbling
brook.
All right, let's just call it a babbling brook.
Actually, it's a tributary of the Saddle River.
Of the Saddle River.
Correct.
But it's not straight like a canal. It turns. It's kind of creekish or brookish. So anyway, there's a huge congregation of mallards that stay here and breed here. Mallard ducks. You know, should be. I don't know if they would declare a small area like this a bird sanctuary or not, but no, they don't like to get back to you.
Allison Evans Fragal hopes to build temporary nesting platforms out of plastic bread crates.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What the hell is a plastic bread crate?
It's like it's like those plastic bins.
Like for the milk? Those things?
No, milk crate has holes in it.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have holes.
Yeah, this one is similar to those bins they sell for storing clothes and you know.
Oh, the plastic things. I see.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Similar to that.
All right.
Which are good, but you got to make sure they stay down. What if a storm comes? You know,
They're probably going to get holes in them, and then the birds go inside.
No, but the container itself has to be stationary. It has to be tied down somehow.
Well, they're going to put them in the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the other trees.
Using some kind of cable ties.
They're going to wrap metal wires around 4 trees on a grassy median. Okay? To hold them in place. Temporary nest.
They make outstanding birdhouses and nests.
See?
And homes for stray cats for the wintertime.
There you go.
Yeah.
Though it's difficult to round up volunteers on a weekday, she said. Eventually, she hopes to use better materials to build the platforms. But given the short notice, she said, the metal wires and crates must do for now.
Right.
Borough officials have plans to clear away 4 trees in the area as part of a project to replace an old retaining wall.
Mm-hmm.
Members of the Parrot Society complained after 1 tree had been removed last week, and officials halted the project to give the bird lovers time to set up nesting platforms. Evans Fragal said she thought she'd have a week or 2 to order the materials and get the work done, but to her dismay, she said, the contractor hired by the borough sent an email Tuesday night indicating he would remove the remaining trees in less than 48 hours. So this is not a utility involved here. This is some contractor to tear down a retaining wall and put up a new one or something. A call to the contractor, James Gotthold, was not returned. Borough Administrator Greg Franz said he believed there had been miscommunication between the parties. When he agreed to stop removing trees last week, the contractor thought the bird advocates would need only a few days to set up alternative nests. We had said from the beginning that in all likelihood the trees will come down, but the contractor would do everything he could to work around them at this point in time. However, the borough administrator said, Gotthold is within his rights to proceed. The delay may cost the borough more money, and the contractor could also be losing money each day that the project is delayed. It always comes down to money, doesn't it?
Yeah. Over just doing the right thing.
Well, in America, it seems that it always comes down to money over life. I don't know, I don't care what life it is. Money over life.
Well, just look at how modern society in America, I heard of cases where it happens in a Latin American country like Colombia, but I'm talking about the destruction of nature, the beauty of nature, and tearing trees down, cutting trees down, and leveling, pristine natural areas for building, overbuilding of commercial purposes, strip malls and office buildings and homes, and just they keep on building and building and building, and then they wonder why all these wild animals are venturing into their backyards.
Yeah.
Now we have coyotes in our...
We have concrete instead of trees.
We have coyotes in the next town over, and I hear wild turkeys are headed our way.
Yeah, there's one up in Washington Township. Hangs around on a corner.
On a corner?
On a corner.
So they become desensitized to human presence, I guess.
I don't know. Traffic, too.
In traffic?
Well, it's a wonder he ain't been killed yet. Hit by a car or something.
They can move their ass pretty fast, wild turkeys. So, what amazes me is they were normally very skittish, very cautious animals, but they have become desensitized, these wild animals, to human presence, which is not a good thing for them or for humans. But now we have coyotes moving in. We already had deer for a long time.
And bears.
White-tailed.
They just killed 285 bears or something in New Jersey.
Well, there's a bear hunting season because there's too many damn black bears in northern New Jersey, in northern Passaic County, and Sussex County, and I guess Morris County.
The contractor is also probably looking at the weather. He wants to finish this before we have any snow. He's doing his best to move the project along. Monk parakeets, which originated in South America, did not set up roots in North Jersey year-round until the 1970s. They were placed on the state's potentially dangerous species list at the time because lawmakers did not know if they posed a threat to indigenous wildlife. Okay?
What do we got?
A galaxy far, far away.
Andromeda?
Once considered the oldest, has reclaimed its title.
As what?
The oldest. Pouring through Hubble's Space Telescope photos, the team recalculated the galaxy's age and determined it is actually 13.3 billion years old. Not the mere 13.2 billion that they thought.
Big deal.
It's an extra tenth of a billion year old.
Big deal.
Hey, give the galaxy its due. Jeez. The dim galaxy,
Dim?
filled with blue stars,
Oh.
was first noticed last year by a different group of researchers who also used the Hubble telescope to make the previous age estimate. It reigned as the most ancient galaxy observed until last month, when it was knocked off its perch by another distant galaxy.
Well, they're dim because they're so damn far away.
Now, it's back on top after the team used a longer exposure time to get a clearer view of the earliest and far-off galaxies. Seeing the most distant galaxies is like looking back in time.
It is? Because
Yes, because
when the
the
light,
light that has come to us now, the fact of the matter is some of those stars could be gone. They could not exist anymore,
they
but their light is just getting here.
they could be long gone.
Yeah.
And because they're so distant, their light is just reaching Earth. That's
Correct.
true.
Correct.
That is very true.
Seeing the most distant galaxies, looking back in time, and this one existed when the universe was in its infancy, about 380 million years old only. Besides refining the galaxy's age, they found 6 more early ones.
There you go, right-wing fundamentalist religious
Hey, I'll bet
nuts.
you the right-wing conservative Republicans never wanted to pay for the Hubble telescope to go up there in space,
No.
you know?
No.
I mean, that's why the Russians beat us with Sputnik, you know.
It was like in the Middle Ages when the Pope gave Galileo a hard time,
Hard time. He was under house arrest.
and
He was not allowed to teach.
they gave I think they gave Leonardo da Vinci a hard time
Correct.
with
And
his
Leonardo
invention,
had to be very careful
with his inventions.
with some of his inventions. Yes.
These people were way ahead of their time.
Yes, but they were in a time when other people had the power. And therein is a problem.
Even Nostradamus had to be careful with the Inquisition, with the Catholic Church. Nostradamus was not just a clairvoyant, if you want, or a psychic, or prophet, whatever you want to call him. He was an alchemist, and he was a natural herbal doctor. You know, astrologer too, I believe.
The people have found
Gotta
one
be careful.
object here and there, but never so many early galaxies. The findings will be published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. Scientists are excited about the bounty of early galaxies, which should help refine theories about the formation of the first stars and galaxies. Astronomers think galaxies started appearing about 200 million years after the Big Bang. The explosion, believed to have created the universe 13.7 billion years ago.
In theory, the Big Bang theory.
In theory, I would say.
Theory. Okay.
Correct?
Got any politics there, sir?
GOP politics. Republican National Committee on Monday announced an inquiry into what went wrong in 2012's presidential election. Well, I can tell them what went wrong. You had the wrong message, stupid.
You had the wrong message that wasn't making mainstream America feel secure, and you had two liars running for office, Ryan and Romney and Ryan.
And how the GOP can respond to the nation's shifting demographics and adopt a smarter political strategies.
Oh yeah, the Latin population, segment of the population, along with the African American.
Oh, Obama bought them with stuff. He gave
women.
them free stuff.
Stuff.
I hope it wasn't food stamps, because boy, that ain't a lot of stuff.
Stuff is like when they say free stuff, that's like giving the poor a chicken, a roasting chicken, so they can have Sunday dinner. Big deal, stuff.
Some right-winger put up on Facebook last night, redistribution is theft.
The rich not paying taxes at all is not only theft of the federal government, but it's unpatriotic.
And the redistribution that he's talking about, of course, is to the little guy. So if that's theft, what the hell is it when we give it to ExxonMobil?
Oh, they don't call that welfare, do they?
No.
What about overtaxing the middle class and not taxing the rich?
There's more of us.
That's not
More
not a
of the
form
middle
of
class and
theft of America's middle class.
No, obviously not. Obviously not.
What blind hypocrites these people
Their propaganda is very good.
I hope somebody with a pair of balls challenged this person and told them off.
I didn't see it. Could be there today, but not yesterday. I offered my 2 cents.
But they never come back with anything. Sometimes they don't
Important.
Sometimes they don't come back with a reply.
Anything. No, they don't. But I said basically, how come we don't call it distribution when we're giving it to the big corporations and the wealthy?
Now, if there's no comeback from that person, then the person's just an idiot that just has nothing better to do.
Just parroting stuff that he hears.
Yeah.
That he thinks the Republicans have been telling for years that hey, putting your money in there with your FICA taxes and your other taxes, and then they're using it to support the welfare queens.
Hey, I got a message for all these greedy, stingy, rich people that are crying the blues when the poor gets social programs, or the elderly or the disabled. My message is, pay your damn fair share in taxes, even if you have to pay a lot more in taxes. Pay it and shut the hell up. You're still rich. Stop crying.
They can never have enough.
Like a bunch of, that's their problem.
It's a disease.
That's their problem.
They've made it our problem, though.
The same thing.
They've made it our government's problem and our economic.
The same thing with the reality shows about the hoarders and all these people with the compulsive disorders. They want you to feel sorry for them. They chose the lifestyle. You have choices on how to live your life, basically, in America. You know what I mean? You can have...
Yeah, but what kind of a choice is it if you have to depend on a corporation to give you the moolah to survive? Is that freedom?
No.
Is that liberty?
Nope.
No. And that's why, in God's economics, every man shall have his own land and vine. Micah 4, verse 4.
Yeah.
Now that's freedom.
Well, you're talking
and
about
liberty.
You're talking about the
free moral agency.
Are you talking about the damage done by the Industrial Revolution when?
Moving everybody to the city. That
everybody moved from self-sustaining land, family-owned farms to the city.
Yeah.
To work for some company.
Once upon a time, 80% of people were connected to the land.
They produced their own food.
Then it went to 40%. You know what it is today?
What?
1%.
Wow.
And they produce all our food. Is that not amazing?
And the land that you're talking about is local, family-owned, local, in those days, organic farms. Now you have to pay through the nose for organic fruit and vegetables, but before everything was organic.
Too many middlemen.
Yeah.
Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus asked a group of 5 respected party leaders to examine how the GOP can better talk with voters, raise money from donors, and learn from Democrats' tactics. Priebus also asked the group,
Pubic.
known as the Growth and Opportunity Project,
Another
to
one.
look at how campaigns are best organized and deployed, how they can work with independent groups such as super political action committees.
Super.
That's where the money is, baby.
Super political action committees.
And how the party should approach the 2016 presidential primaries as part of a top-to-bottom review. The Growth and Opportunity Project will recommend a plan to further ensure Republicans are victorious in 2013, 2014, and 2016 and beyond.
Well, we let's hope that doesn't happen. that never happens. Like I said before, they want to be victorious because they're greedy and they want to control the planet, and they don't want to pay taxes, and they want to enslave the mainstream. My message again to the Republican governors like Governor Walker in Wisconsin and others that expect people to work without a union and to work for, let's say, minimum wage or less with no benefits.
$1 an hour like Reagan wanted.
Fuck you.
$1 an hour.
You think people want to get their ass out of bed in the morning and work all day long hours for less than minimum wage or minimum wage with no benefits?
That's the way it is, okay? That's the way it's set up.
Yeah, but people...
Obey!
People have to have the incentive. Where is the incentive for them to actually care about their job and work hard for less than minimum wage? Where's the
exactly
incentive?
It. The incentive is to work hard for someone else. Get it through your head. That's what it's all about.
No, I don't have it through my head because I'm the one that has to work for somebody else. But maybe I want proper compensation for my efforts.
It's the system, stupid.
Well, then, pay me a decent wage.
Or
I could
maybe,
work. Yeah.
as I just said with God's economics,
Yeah.
we can set up a system where the corporation is not the controller of your fate.
Yeah. People are not going to care about doing an optimal job if they're getting inadequate salaries and no benefits.
And that's why slaves would be good, because you could force them.
Well, if they're bona fide slaves, yeah.
Yeah, you force them.
You know, or
Well, you're a bona fide slave if you
have a bona fide android robot.
if you don't have any moolah to survive within the society you're in.
Yeah. Well, look at that.
What are you?
Look at that scumbag, the CEO of, was it Papa John's Pizza?
Yeah,
Mr. Was it Shatter?
Shatter. Yeah, something like that.
Shatter's last name is, he instead of raising the price of his pizza like 14 cents or whatever, you know, he decided not to give his employees any health care at all. And that's all it would take is to raise the price of his pizza like 14 cents.
Well, his pizzas are already too expensive. They're $10 or $11 a pizza.
Oh,
Now, a pizza is just dough,
which is cheap.
water,
Which
a
is
little
cheap.
bit of sauce, and some cheese.
Well,
I think at the most.
your pizza has a little bit of sauce and some cheese. My pizza has to be abundanza. I want a lot of cheese, man.
I'm talking about the ingredients
Oh, okay.
to make a large pie.
It's like pasta. The ingredients is predominantly tomatoes, which is cheap as hell.
Correct.
Common, all right?
So therefore-
Everybody grows tomatoes. Dough, what is dough? Wheat,
Flour and water.
flour, water, some yeast. All right, you let it rise. Blah blah blah. Little salt, big deal, cheap. Same thing
So,
with pasta.
At the most, including your profit and everything else, at the high end, I think a pizza is probably only worth $5.
You
to
mean
make it.
even with the overhead
Even with your profit.
of the business
Correct.
establishment?
Yeah. Around $5.
Yeah, not over.
I remember a pizza back in the 1960s. Cost $1. for a large
Listen,
pie in
all-
Irvington, New Jersey.
All these pizzerias around here are a ripoff. Actually, all the businesses. Look at this asshole out here with his alarm system.
Who was that?
Some jerk interfering with our show like that.
I don't even know who it is.
He deserves a crack on the skull with my shillelagh. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, all these businesses in this area, because of New York City, because they use the excuse of New York City is the Big Apple and it's a huge tourist attraction. Same thing with the rents and the mortgages and the price of everything is through sky high. They use that as an excuse to jack up everything. You know, many places that sell food, the kind of foods that they serve are not expensive items. It's not like they're putting beluga caviar on your damn pizza, you know, or smoked or Nova Scotia salmon or anything like that. The average pizza is mozzarella cheese, which is inexpensive to make. You got ricotta cheese, which is, you go to any supermarket, it's one of the cheapest cheeses going and on the market. Hey, which I find interesting, ricotta. And
how much do you weigh?
Weigh, W-H-E.
Ring the bell.
Oh, ha ha ha.
Oh boy.
The levity bell.
Oh boy.
Gotta love it. The levity bell. So, hey, it's the nature of capitalism, I guess, is to be able to, especially deregulated capitalism. You know, you don't have any consumer protection, and they're allowed to lie to you. Okay, do we have?
The work of the Growth and Opportunity Project will be critical as we move forward as a party and take our message to every American. Mitt Romney's loss on November the 6th to the President Obama has left the GOP with a clear leader, but with many questions about its future. Exit polls indicated Obama carried female, black, Hispanic, and Asian voters. He also won among voters under the age of 45 and those who lived in mid to large-sized cities. That adds up to a quandary for a party looking ahead at gubernatorial races next year in Virginia and New Jersey, as well as 2014's midterm elections. Soul searching after political embarrassments is nothing new. After President Ronald Reagan carried 49 states in his 1984 re-election, Democrats retooled their party and set in motion pragmatic shifts that resulted in the rise of the New Democrats that Bill Clinton rode to the nomination 8 years later. I'm excited for the future of the GOP, and am confident this project will strengthen our cause tremendously in the coming years. You see, I've heard nothing yet about changing the message.
No.
No. Ari Fleischer, press secretary for President George W. Bush, and Sally Bradshaw, a veteran statistist and top advisor to former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, are among those leading the inquiry. Republican National Committee Henry Barber, hey, Henry, isn't that Haley? It says Henry. A GOP strategist, probably not, and a nephew of former Mississippi Governor Haley Barber, also were part of the group. Republican officials said the group would have access to Republican National Aids Committee aides and would eventually talk to hundreds of party leaders and rank-and-file voters to better understand how the GOP came up short to Obama after the election. top Republicans groused that Romney's campaign struggled to communicate effectively with voters. Yeah, they had the wrong message. They had the message for the top 30%. Who crucial demographic groups and breakthrough they want to communicate effectively with. And they want a winning strategy. No mention of changing the message to appeal to the 47%.
They're stubborn bastards, aren't they?
Yeah.
They
Sure are stubborn in one way. No taxes for the rich.
Yeah, it's amazing how they still cling to that.
As deemed by God Grover Norquist.
So Grover Norquist still thinks that the little guy, the middle class, should carry the tax burden.
Correct.
Doesn't sound very fair, does it?
Correct.
Why strangle somebody who's living week to week, month to month, paycheck to paycheck?
Because there's more of them. That's why.
In other words, they don't care.
Broaden the base. And then you don't have to take from the rich.
Well, yeah, but when the middle class is overtaxed, it hurts them. When the rich are paying the tax burden, they're still rich.
Well, Solomon did that, didn't he?
Doesn't Grover Norquist know that?
Maybe he hasn't read the Bible about King Solomon.
How many
taxed his people?
How many Lear jets does a rich man need? How many beach mansions on a beach do they need?
I hope they're not the kind that
or yachts.
The young woman was killed in the other day. The Mexican singer.
Oh, she was murdered?
The jet crashed.
Oh,
it was a Lear jet.
Which Mexican singer?
Jean something or whatever. I don't remember
Not
her
aware
last
of
name.
it. We have one last article.
Speaking of God Norquist, a few words to ponder as we sail toward the fiscal cliff.
Oh, the so-called fiscal cliff.
Those words would be, that was then, this is now. Strip away the false piety and legalistic hair-splitting offered by Republican lawmakers rationalizing their decision to abandon a pledge that they will never, ever, ever vote to raise taxes. And that's pretty much what the explanation boils down to.
That might get their asses kicked out of Congress come 20... When is the next election? 2014, yeah.
Well, it hasn't done so yet. The pledge has been in effect since 1986.
And why on earth do mainstream America from the red states, the Bible Belt states, why do they keep on voting for these people is beyond me. Because I call them cultists, the fundamentalists.
As I say... Yeah. They still believe that the Republicans are like the Republicans of Abraham Lincoln, and that they will never, if they are what we call the right-wing religious nuts, they will never vote for a Democrat. Who is a demon.
The demon.
And a baby killer.
They call him demon.
And a secular human.
Demon Christ. But they still fall for this flag-waving, Yankee Doodle dandy, right-wing propaganda machine, the lies,
and they mesh it.
That God that America's a Christian nation, which is a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, they mesh it with our mutant form of capitalism, and they're calling it, America, patriotism, mom, and apple pie. It's all combined into one soup. Super soup.
It's a
super soup.
Super soup. It's a giant brainwashing. It's a giant sales pitch.
That works very well. Representative Peter King says he understood the pledge propounded by the almighty Grover Norquist and his group Americans for Tax Reform to obligate him for only one term. Apparently, he thought it had to be renewed like a driver's license.
Yeah.
Senator Lindsey Graham says that if Democrats agree to entitlement reform, I will violate the pledge for the good of the country. Woo! Woo! A Republican interested in the good of the country. This is amazing.
You believe that?
I don't believe anything. Whenever their mouths are moving, I know they're lying.
They're sleazy. It's like a furniture store commercial or a car dealer. It's like what was the car dealer from the Twilight Zone episode?
Yeah.
Honeycutt.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the big bow tie.
We'll catch it next time. It's on. What do you call it when it's on all day?
The marathon.
Marathon.
The Twilight Zone marathon. Harry Honeycutt, something like that. He's like he like lies to all the customers.
A stirring statement of patriotism and sacrifice that warms your heart, like a midnight snack of jalapeno chili fries. In other words, bowl Twinkies. If you want the truth of why a trickle of GOP lawmakers is suddenly willing to blaspheme the holy scripture of their faith, it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
The pledge used to be politically expedient. Now it is not. This is not, by the way, a column in defense of the Norquist pledge. The only thing dumber than his offering such a pledge was scores of politicians signing it.
Hmm.
An opinion that has nothing to do with the wisdom or lack thereof of raising taxes and everything to do with the fact that one ought not, as a matter of simple common sense, make hard, inflexible promises on changeable matters of national importance.
So
it is all well and good to stand on whatever one's principles are, but as a politician, a job that by definition requires the ability to compromise, you don't needlessly box yourself in. Never say never, much less never, ever, ever, ever. So this revolution against he who must be obeyed, however modest, is nonetheless welcome. It suggests reason seeping like sunlight into places too long cloistered in the damp and dark of ideological rigidity. But it leaves an observer in the oddly weightless position of applauding a thing and being simultaneously disgusted by it. Has politics ever seemed more ignoble than in these clumsy, self-serving attempts to justify a deviation from orthodoxy? They have to do this, of course, because the truth. I signed the pledge because I knew it would help me get reelected. But the economic ruin looming, and Obama reelected on a promise to raise taxes on the rich, and most voters supporting him on that, it's not doing me as much good as it once did. That's unpretty and unflattering.
Mm-hmm.
In this awkward about-face, these lawmakers leave us wondering once again whether the vast majority of them, right and left, red and blue, Republican and Democrat, really believe in anything.